Hey guys, how's it going? It's Al. Week 8 Thursday night showdown on DraftKings. DraftKings Showdown, NFL DFS. I'm getting all the buzzwords in because, the algo needs them. You got to feed that algo. You got to feed it real well. So we do what we can, but thank you guys for being here. I'm pretty sure we're probably going to have a few new viewers on this showdown. Welcome to the channel. Drop a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, ring the notifications bell, leave me a reply down below. Let me know how you're doing this week. Would love to come talk to you. I'm live 6 days a week on twitch.tv/Al_smizzle, if you're not aware of that, for 2 to 3 hours a day. And we got videos 7 days a week here on the main channel. So I'm glad that you found your way over here. We've had a pretty good time this season. We've had things surrounded. I'm coming off of a very big week. Main slate, NBA, and Monday Night Football showdown. We're going to see if we can keep the heater going. So let's talk about this Thursday night game.
He's a legend.
I know I'm going to get asked in the comments, so I'm going to tell you right now. The lineup builder that I use for Showdown is Fantasy Labs. There will be a link down below in the pinned comment. There are also links right in the description if you want to click show more on that. That will get you a discounted membership to Fantasy Labs. I also use the projections at Establish the Run. I upload those into the Fantasy Labs lineup builder, and I use those two collectively. Also a 10% discount for the Establish the Run. And with it being NBA season, I believe that their best product, at least in class, is their NBA product, their DFS product right here, $2.99 a season. You get 10% off of that. If you are also a sports bettor, they've been crushing player props all season long. In NFL season, I don't see that that's going to change in NBA. You can bundle the two of them and get 50% off of that total, and you get 10% off for using promo code SMIZLIFE at checkout or using my link smizzle.tv/ETR. So let's go look at the slate. Let's see what we got. Pretty amazing game between Green Bay and Arizona. Looks like it's going to be fun. However, we do have some early news that DAVANTE Adams tested positive for COVID on Monday morning. It's going to be difficult for him to get back. He is expected to miss this game. He needs to have like 2 positive tests that are 24 hours apart before, 2 negative tests 24 hours apart before Thursday's game in order to be active. So if he had that breakthrough case, and the fact that that's what he needs, he was clearly vaccinated, because the protocols are different if you're not. So he's got to get 2 positive tests on like Wednesday morning and then again, or Wednesday noon and then Thursday noon before he can play. And if he has a breakthrough case, it's highly unlikely that he's going to be able to get that done in that amount of time with the gestation period. So it sucks, but it is what it is. It gives us a couple of things to look at. So the first thing that we do typically, we take a look at the targets that exist for Green Bay, and DAVANTE Adams is like Pac-Man. He's just eating 35% of the target market share coming from Aaron Rodgers. And now that's going to get spread a little bit to Aaron Jones. We'll talk about that in just a second. A little bit to Robert Tonyan, a little bit to Alan Lazard, a little bit to Cobb, a little bit to MVS. Those are the 3 guys who are going to benefit the most. We take a look at their inside the red zone targets. DAVANTE Adams, 15 targets already. His target market share, 32.5%. Again, then it's Aaron Jones, and then just a bunch of dudes after him. I think Lazard might take a larger bump than, say, MVS. MVS more of a downfield threat. Lazard, a big-bodied target who has seen a good amount of red zone usage the last 2 weeks, including a good amount of end zone targets the last couple of weeks. And then we have these splits that I wanted to take a look at. Now, again, we're playing a little bit of small sample size theater here, be that as it may. Aaron Rodgers in the last 2 years, plus 2021, so including all of 2019, 2020, and half of 2021, has played 33 games with DAVANTE Adams in the lineup and has averaged 22.5 fantasy points in those contests. In the 6 games that DAVANTE Adams has been out, he's averaged 28.56. He has also thrown the ball downfield a lot more, which makes sense because if 35% of your targets are being thrown to somebody like DAVANTE Adams, who has a really low ADOT, average depth of target, your yards per attempt are going to be lower. So he challenges downfield more to guys like MVS and the other players that he's had rolling out of the slot before in those 6 games, as well as going down the seam to Tunyon a lot more. And the other thing that we see is a lot more touches funneled towards Aaron Jones. He's played 31 games, and 6 of them 31 games with DAVANTE Adams. In split, DAVANTE Adams played. Out of split, DAVANTE Adams did not play. 26 fantasy points per game in those games. The big difference being twofold. One, Aaron Jones has scored a lot more touchdowns in the games where he's been out, right? He's averaged 0.16 receiving touchdowns per game in the games where DAVANTE Adams is out. He's averaged 0.67 receiving touchdowns per game, 11 total in 6 games. Sorry, that's wrong. 11 if he played 16. That's what that would extrapolate out to, as well as an increase in rushing touchdowns. So the thing to get at here is that he's going to get the ball more inside the 10-yard line, is Aaron Jones, in a game like this. So I guess correlation stack on the errands. He gets 2 more targets per game in those situations. Also makes sense with his low ADOT as DAVANTE is. So he seems to be a really good play in this situation. A lot to digest. I know he's coming off of a bad week, but this is a great spot for him in an up-paced situation game. If we are going to play Aaron Rodgers as our captain, and we know how good Aaron Rodgers is, we know how good Aaron Rodgers has been without DAVANTE Adams, now that we've looked at that split. If you believe that he is a viable captain on this slate, the first thing that we are going to do is we are going to build, whether you're hand building or using a lineup builder, we're going to build that player group that is going to stack 2 players with Aaron Rodgers. I'm not going to include Aaron Jones in that group because it's not, again, going back to his thing, average targets in those games 6 per game as opposed to 4. I'm not going to X him out of being in those lineups that have Aaron Rodgers. And again, I'm probably not going to have more than 7 or 10% of Aaron Rodgers at captain. They will end up in the same lineups in flex, but I don't think it's something you need to force. I will make sure, especially because this pricing came out before Adams was out of this game, you're getting a massive discount on Allen Lazard, coming off of 11 targets in the last 2 weeks and a touchdown in both. You're coming off of a discount on Tunyon, who is likely going to see more of the target market share in this game. MVS has a chance to return for Thursday's game. If he is at all healthy, I would expect him to be out there. If he is, he's going to be in that group. And here's really the secret here, guys. If MVS is inactive on Thursday night, don't play him. Okay? That's the really big news here. Cobb is too cheap. We're going to have to figure out whether it's going to be Equiminius or whether it's going to be Amari, who is going to play more snaps in the absence. But every single receiver on that team, and we're also going to use Mason Crosby in that stack. So every viable receiver who is healthy, we're going to play with those Aaron Rodgers stacks. And then we're going to build a second group in the lineup builder that's going to say we want all the skill position players. I don't want, and the reason for this, I was asked this question. It's a good question. Why am I building that bring back group with basically all of the offensive players or viable offensive players on the other team? I don't want there to be a kicker against the quarterback captain, and I don't want there to be an opposing defense against the quarterback captain. So I isolate to quarterback, running back, wide receiver, and tight end in those situations. Same thing goes for the other side of the field. If we're building Kyler Murray at captain lineups, I talked about this before I went live, and I'll explain it to you as well, at least my thinking of it. And again, this is completely narrative driven and has nothing based in fact. But the last few weeks, Kyler has been dealing with a little bit of a hurt shoulder. We know what happened to Kyler after the hurt shoulder last year from week 10 and beyond, where he stopped throwing the ball downfield as much. He stopped running the ball a ton, and they kind of tried to protect him. And now, sitting where they're at like 7-0, they know they're going to make the playoffs. I kind of feel like Konami Kyler may not make a reappearance until the playoffs. I'd love to be wrong about that. My best ball shares would love me to be wrong about that. And Al Smizzle that likes football and watching Arizona and Kyler would also love me to be wrong about that. But like with 17 rush yards in the last 3 games, seems to me like they're not calling as many designed runs for him, and he's getting down earlier and more often than he was earlier in the season when he was running for 40 yards, 30 yards, 20 yards, 20 yards a game, as well as getting market share of the carries inside the 5. But that doesn't mean he can't be viable in the captain spot. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to pair him with at least 2 of all of his pass catchers. Edmonds not getting enough usage week in and week out to really be included in that group, but I'm certainly not going to X him out. Definitely not including Connor in that group. AJ Green, Zach Ertz, Rondale Moore. All the viable pass catchers are right here. They're very easy to stack, but I don't know which ones are going to catch the ball. It doesn't matter, especially if you're mass multi-entering. And again, if you're mass multi-entry and you're in the big tournament, which is $20 this week, that's one thing. But like, if you want to try out mass multi-entry, they have a mini max tournament as well. I don't know if it's 10 cents or 25 cents a lineup. But you can get after it and find out if you are a mini max player, if you're good at doing it using all the different rules and things that we set. Now, this is going to be a faster paced game. Kickers can be viable in those games, definitely. Just because, you know, there's going to be a lot of points. If they score like 31 points or 30 points and there's 3 field goals and one of them is a 50-yard field goal, kickers are certainly going to be viable in those sorts of spots. And defenses as well, because a lot of dropbacks means more opportunities for sacks, more sack fumbles, more fat man touchdowns, more pick sixes on throws to the outside from pressure. And Arizona does a great job of getting pressure, but I'm going to build that other group that limits these to 1 in the lineup builder. So let's head over to lineup builder here. I've got my settings. You can save it once you get these in. I allow for 10% of the salary cap to go unused. I don't allow for a kicker or defense and captain. I have it set at 450. You can dial this up or down. My shuffle is set at 15 for every single position to get a little bit more randomness. Not a ton, but a little bit. And then we look at the position rules, just like I talked to you about. Pair your captain wide receiver with at least 2 wide receiver, tight end, or kicker from the same team. Pair your captain quarterback with at least 1 quarterback, running back, wide receiver, or tight end from the opponent. No kickers or defense. If you have a wide receiver at captain, if you believe that DeAndre Hopkins is going to be that viable captain for this slate, you're going to plug him in there. If he has a fantastic game, Kyler also had. If he has a 2-touchdown game with 130 yards receiving, Kyler Murray is probably also going to be in that optimal lineup for that night. Same thing goes for the tight end. Limit to at most 1 defense and kicker, and the most important group is this player group, one that I highlighted on that video where I won $140,000 on Monday Night Football. You want to add group. Use at least 1, and you're going to pick like 4 to 6 players that you think are going to be like low played. Like I'm talking like 20% and down. Make sure that every one of your lineups has one of those guys in it for the simple fact that there is going to be overlap when it comes to your lineups in Showdown. And it's not unlikely to have a lot of people splitting first place. But if you're going to split first place, you want to do that with as few people as possible. So getting a little bit of differentiation in your lineups gives you a lot more chance at coming up with a more unique lineup. And if you're going to split first place, splitting it with 5 or 10 people is a lot more profitable than splitting it with 500 or 1,000. I hope this video helped you. If you're somebody who's looking at this part of the video, I hope that these lineups don't help you, and I hope that you caught that ad. But if you watch the whole thing, I hope that these things helped you decide how you are going to build your rules for building lineups. Teach a man to fish instead of giving him a fish. Look out for another video right there.
He's a legend.